everybody. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. All right, we are live. We got Monick Halm is our guest tonight. She is an expert in raising funds for passive investors, and she is in a wide basket of investments. And we were just talking about before we started how she is able to diversify into a lot of different spaces because she is the capital raiser. She doesn't have to be an expert in the nitty-gritty of every business. And so she's in multifamily, self-storage. She does a lot of commercials, and she's just branching out of 2 factories. And so she started out as an attorney and as a smart lady, and is really great at taking a look at these businesses and brings on teams of people and analysts so that they can make their investments a success. And I was telling her that as a multifamily investor, my goal is to be taking my own cash and passively investing it a little bit more diversely so I can be in multifamily, but I have to be in a couple of other spaces. But I don't want to become an expert in all of those. So I'm going to rely on people like Monick to place my capital in other types of investments. And so we're just going to go around and we're going to take turns. We're going to introduce ourselves. We have a small group tonight and just talk about what we have, what we can offer, and what we're looking for. And if you are watching the replay and you want to connect with any of us, or you have what we need, or you're looking for something that we have, just connect. And that's what the point of this meeting is to network and get passive investors hooked up with active investors so we can get our money working for each other. So Monick, we'll have you kick off.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks.
So what do I have on the investment side, so not the education side? Well, as you were saying, we have an investor club, and we vet and bring together a variety of different deals for passive investors that are in multifamily and industrial. Mostly, we've done some mobile home parks and ground up development. We have a wide variety of different things that we've done, and all focused on cash flow and and the equity piece too at the end. And what's the other question? What do I want?
What do you need that right now that maybe somebody out there can help you with? What are you struggling with?
Well, I mean, so my big, hairy, audacious goal, my mission is to help 1 million women create financial freedom through real estate investing. And so I do that partly through the investing opportunities. And when I first started, maybe 10% of our investors were women. Now it's probably 90% of our investors are women. So it helped definitely. Not that I love men too, but as investors. And we also have our female and our education side. We just want to empower women. So I have a book that I recently released. It's digitally available on my website, reiglasses.com. It's called Investing in Real Estate from $1 to $1 million, Investing Strategies for Every Budget and Every Goddess. I'd love that to get out there in the world. And I want women, especially, to know that they can get involved in real estate. And a lot of times we're talking about these types of syndications and investing deals with the minimums of $50,000 or $100,000 or even $25,000. It can feel really overwhelming and like a lot for a lot of people. And I want women to know that they don't need to have that much money to get in the game, to get started. And you can, and that's what I want. I want that to be shared out in the world. That's my big why.
Is it okay if us guys maybe just peek at your book?
Sure.
I mean, I know that. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to ask to actually read it, but I just got on your website. It's very clear that it's for women.
It's very pink. Well, but yeah, so there's that. 95% of the information I share is geared towards anybody. It's really just about investing in general. But it's also, in terms of the teaching I do, it's investing in real estate, but in a feminine way. Because as women, we are chromosomally different. Our brains are different. How we show up to money and investing and relationships are different. And there's a way of being in the feminine that just allows in more ease, grace, and flow. And that also works better with the masculine. So it's just, how do you like tapping into that feminine for real estate? So, though the book doesn't go into that. So please, you're welcome to get it and read it. It's only 43 pages.
This is coming from a guy that has a podcast called The Apartment Guys.
Yeah. No,
So,
Tate.
that you're going to be on,
Which
Monique.
I'm excited to be on, Tate.
Yeah, I'm stoked too. Really excited.
Yeah.
Tate, you and I have actually spent a lot of time talking about, when we first met, we spent like 8 hours in the car driving to Denver, how much I was struggling with this back before I found Monique, about the whole crush it and 10X and how much I kind of hated. And I was feeling like maybe I couldn't be successful in real estate because I wasn't really willing to do that. And then I heard Monique on a podcast, and it was like all of the wisdom raining down, like, I don't have to be that way. I can embrace the feminine side, and I can just enjoy the journey and just crunch away at things day by day. And you and I spent so long in the car going over this and kind of addressing how we approach things differently. So I actually really liked a lot of the wisdom that you shared on that. And I think that you have a lot to offer on this, because you had some good wisdom to share with me when I was struggling with that when we first met. So you definitely can share the book and have something to say on this topic.
Sounds like she's been a little bit of a mentor to you, Emma.
From afar,
Yeah.
I have a little bit of a distance crush on Monique, I have to say.
It's the digital mentor. It's the age of the digital mentor, right?
Yeah, and I think you told me that in the car. You were like, go find some people that you respect, read their books, whether they're living or even dead, and get the knowledge, and go find yourself some mentors. They don't have to even know who you are. So I went out and I found a couple of them. And like I said, Monique was one of those people that I saw, and I thought, that was the first time I thought, I'm not doing this wrong. I'm actually doing this very right. So that was really freeing for me. So I really appreciated both of your insight into that, and it kind of led me down a path that really opened up some doors for me this last year that that has had a lot of success and a lot of confidence coming from it. So I think that you have a lot to offer that way, and definitely a good message there for a lot of people. And Elizabeth too is like killing it that way, and taking name, you know, what do they call it? Taking names. So
taking butt and taking names.
Yeah, we got a lot of that going on out there. So who wants to go next with their haves and their wants?
I'm happy to.
Sure,
Yeah.
Kate.
So haves and wants. We're basically looking for deals right now. Deals and dollars, right? That's kind of always the name of the game, and so we're kind of always looking for both right now. We've always had, I think, the most success leading with deals. It seems like I'll either, my partner and I'll either have the ability to pull together like friends and family financing, or we'll work with somebody that's raising capital, like a syndicator or whatnot. And we've been really close in the last year on a couple of different buildings, 156 unit, a 44 unit in Albuquerque. And the COVID blew that one up. And so we're under contract on a 20 unit right now here in Utah. That's basically a straight value add, and also has a land subdivide play to it. That's kind of pretty cool, actually. And that's in Clearfield, Utah. And we're basically looking for the next one. Right now with COVID going on, we feel really good about doing maybe a more scaled down project here in Utah, because we know it so well, and it's because such a unicorn market in the country.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, why not work in our own backyard right now? But at the same time, like, you're not going to go find a Little Rock property like yours, Emma, or like I was looking at 160 units in Oklahoma City that cash flows really well. And you're not going to find that in Utah either. So we've had to kind of shift our are thinking a little bit with COVID as far as staying a little closer to home and not going too far out on a limb on a big project. But that said, I like really am hungry for like a 150 unit deal.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. So you need people to maybe loop you in on a deal, or is that what you're looking for? Or?
Yeah, or wholesale us one, or you know, whatever. Like, yeah, however we can make something work. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what's your offer?
Let's see. You know, I think we're getting to be pretty good like asset managers, and our learning curve has been pretty steep in that way. But I think that's, you know, an offer into the partnership that we can make. You know, fundraising, capital raising is another thing that we can bring to the table often for the right deal. You know, so yeah, you kind of caught me off guard with that question. What else can I offer? Like moral support.
Which, yeah, you're good at the moral support. Sure.
That's necessary often.
Tate's a good guy, and he likes helping people. So if you have any questions or you need hooked up or an introduction, Tate can help you out there. So, okay, thank you, Tate. Elizabeth or Eric, you want to go next? Either one of you?
I'll go next. Right now, I'm just selling a few properties, and I'm coming with a little bit of cash, enough to buy my first. I'm still deciding if I want to build or if I want to buy. I'm open to buying out of state as well. So I think I'm going to go small, maybe a 10-unit building here pretty soon. But right now I'm in that learning stage, you know, before I go into it, what's required. I feel like I'm not really good at raising money, but I'm really good at making money. So obviously, I'm going to need, you know, more investors. But for right now, I've always been that way where I want to try it on my own, see what it's like, learn, and then move bigger and bigger. So right now, per se, I'm not looking. If anything, I'm under contract in some of my rental units and just bringing the money together.
Okay. Do you have an offer that you want people to reach out to if they need something?
If they need something, you mean my phone number? Sorry.
No, it's like something that you can do, like what you're good at that you want people to ask you for help with.
Actually, I'm just I do flips. That's what I do mostly, and I work out of state as well. So I'm really good at researching the markets, economy, and things like that. I am back in Utah right now, which I'm very happy for because obviously it's here. I know the market; it's booming. But like I said, I'm open to out of state as well. So somebody, I think I'm going to be a little bit very, I don't know what the word would be, but I wouldn't just want to partner with anyone. I would want to be somebody that it's easy to work with. You know what I mean? Like I see partnership as kind of like a marriage. So, but if anybody needs, I mean, flips, getting really cheap contractors, people that, you know, are able to bring, I guess, more money when it comes to the deals. That's what I guess I'm good at.
Okay. I know someone looking for a good handyman in Salt Lake right now. I'll have you hook her up.
Okay.
Got a big remodel on one of her rentals. Okay, it looks like we lost Eric. Sorry?
I wanted to say they may or may not have a license and they may or may not have documents. So that you know.
That is one thing that Elizabeth is very passionate about, is about hiring people and working with people who are good at what they do and forget the rest. So, and I'm from Texas, so I'm good at that too. Okay, so
yeah, I can't say I've never done that myself.
Yeah. I'm not ever running for public office, so I'm cool that way. This is being recorded and put out and in the real world, so you know, just watch
I'm
it.
taking it back. I've never said that. I have never done it.
I've actually never ever done it. I may have hired a contractor who's done it, But as far as I know,
No. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
I've just heard that it happens.
I've heard,
It's out there somewhere.
I've heard other people do it.
I also don't ever do anything that the DRE or the SEC wouldn't like. So just saying that publicly, right. So
Yeah. No, that's very important.
Yeah.
yes. Oh boy. That doesn't even that let's see. No, I have a somewhat confidential, I can talk a little bit about it, run in with the SEC, not something that I was not a complaint against me, but an involvement that I had against somebody else that was a couple of people that the SEC was looking into, that they interviewed me to. It sounded very unpleasant for the other parties. And that was like that moment where I'm on the phone with them going, I hope I am never on the other end of this kind of an investigation. Very, very unpleasant. So just keep your nose clean. All right, so let's see. Who do we have in here? I don't recognize the name of who just popped in here. I will finish up. Let's see. Whoops, I missed. Let's get Monique pinned back up here. Like I said, I'm a multifamily value add. I'm always looking for deals and dollars. I would say my strength is just putting people and teams together. My partners have called me the grease. Like my background is in entrepreneurial management, and so I'm not scared by big projects. I just keep going. Like I'm like the little engine that could like just put people together. Let's do a big project. Let's do stuff. If it scares you or if it's big or whatever, I'm a great networker. Find people. Let's go make this deal happen. So I love being brought in when people are like, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. And I'd be like, all right, let's go make this happen. So I usually find the deal. But I have been approached the deal that I'm in right now. They brought it to me and said, I've never done large multifamily. So I'm kind of stuck with this, and I came in and we're getting it done. So that's kind of what I have. If you're stuck with something and what I need, I need specialists. I'm more of a generalist. I'm wide, but I'm not really deep in any one particular thing. I can do underwriting. I can read it. I can do market research. I can do marketing. I can do capital raising. I'm good at asset management. I'm good at construction management. But I have this wide range of skills, but I really need specialists that I can kind of organize and get projects done. So that's my have, and that's my need, kind of the same thing. So, all right. Is anybody else out there that wants to introduce themselves? Going once, going twice.
Owner.
All right. Yeah, I don't know who that is. All right, Monique, how about you take it away? And I try not to interrupt too much when you're doing your presentation, but sometimes we'll do a little interview, or if anybody has any questions, just pop in, maybe pause occasionally and see if anybody wants to pipe up. It's a little bit interactive. So take it away.
Yeah, and that's fine because I didn't have a few slides. I didn't add that much because I thought it will be more conversational. And you had, let me see. I'm not used to Google Meet. I'm used to Zoom. I live on Zoom.
You go, it's present now in the bottom right corner.
Let me see.
I'm a Google girl. I'm a G Suite girl.
Are you okay? I can figure things out. All right, let's see.
If you go down to the
Are you seeing a?
Yes, there you go. You got it.
Okay. All right. It's weird because I see myself and my screen very small. Is that normal?
Yeah, you're gonna want to click on the thing that you want to present. So it says you're presenting, but you're still looking at you got to go to the tab that you want to present.
So but you're seeing my screen?
No, I'm just seeing you.
Ah, okay. Okay. How do I do that? It looks like
you can choose when you're doing present now. You can choose your entire.
I picked the screen that I wanted to show.
You might have just chosen a particular tab. Choose a particular tab.
Do you see my screen now?
Nope. How about you guys? Can you see her screen or just her?
Yeah, I can see the screen.
Creating relationships and finding partners.
I know
Yes.
what I did. I pinned you. I'm going to unpin you for myself, and then I can.
Okay.
Oh, perfect. That was my problem. That was my technical problem. Sorry.
Okay. No worries. I was so confused. But now I don't see everybody else, but that's okay. I guess.
Oh,
so,
I want to interrupt you real quick already. Jenny just introduced herself in the chat. She says, "Hi, I'm Jenny. I'm working to get my architecture license. Interested in real estate and investing in small development, trying to learn more and get my feet wet." Thanks for introducing yourself, Jenny. If you want to pipe in at any time, feel free. And I'm just working on my first large development right now and looking to get my feet wet in that. So I would love to network with you more.
all right. So I guess Jenny's there under owner.
All right.
Welcome, all of you guys. So Emma, you asked me to talk about just creating relationships, finding partnerships, stuff that I've shared before, I guess, in another podcast that you had heard that you found valuable. So I just wanted to share just some of the lessons that I've learned that have really made a difference in terms of being able to bring in great partners to work with. And then also bringing in investors. Right now, I probably have about close to 1,000 investors on in our database, on our investor list. A larger list of about 20,000 people, but 1,000 in the investor list, and that's growing. And a lot of the things that I've talked about is how we are doing it. Let me go to the next slide. Hopefully that'll. Okay, so just briefly about me. I'm the founder of Real Estate Investor Goddesses. As I shared before, my mission is to help 1 million women create financial freedom through real estate investing. And that's what Real Estate Investor Goddesses is all about. I'm a syndicator and investor of 15 years. We have over 1,350 rental doors across 7 states in a variety of asset classes. I've written a couple books: Real Estate Investor Goddess Handbook, Wealth for Women, Conversations with the Team That Creates the Dream, Investing in Real Estate from $1 to $1 million. I host the Real Estate Investor Goddesses podcast, and I teach about real estate, educator, mentor, coach. And okay, so let's talk. So there, like I whip these together, but there are 3. These are tips that I have found that makes the biggest difference in terms of bringing of getting the right partners. And these 3 C's are something that I learned from one of my mentors, Beth Clifford. And it's been, once I started implementing, it was life-changing. Not just for, this is for people I partner with, this is for team members, if I'm hiring people. I always evaluate according to these 3 C's. And the first C is character. And these C's are in order of importance. Character is everything, right? It's not something that you can teach, and it's something that you will just be able to, you'll observe and look for, like, what are character traits that are important for you. For me, I really look for people that are of integrity. They do what they say they're going to do. I look at how they treat other people around. I look, go to lunch, and it's like, how do they treat the wait staff, and how do they treat other people? It's important to me that they treat everyone well. And are they of integrity? Are they honest? Are they cheating in little ways, which suggests to me that they would cheat in big ways? So I just look at that. Do they tell the truth? What's their character like? So that's the first thing. And I notice, even if it's like white lies or exaggerations, it's like, okay, is that somebody that I'm going to be able to trust, and is that somebody that I can put my investors' hard-earned money and trust in? Okay, so character is the first one. The next one is, why does it keep saying that? I have this. Okay. All right. The next C has to do with commitment. And commitment is, it's in a couple of ways. So first, it has to do with a commitment to a shared mission, vision, and values. So with regards to like the mission, I only want to invest in deals where we can leave the property and the community better than we found it. I'm not about being a slumlord, taking every dollar out of a deal. And so for me, it's really important that somebody else would have that same commitment. I also have another commitment to one of my values is relationships for life. So I don't want to get into, I'm not transactional and thinking just about doing one deal with somebody and trying to get the most out of it that I can. I want a deal to feel really good for everybody so that we keep working together again and again and again and again forever. I want us to work together forever. So I go into a relationship wanting it to be for life and thinking really, really long term. And showing up in a way that would make that person want to keep working with me for the rest of my life. But I also want them to be that way too. And so that's a commitment that I will look for. And then in terms of like more practical terms, they need to be able to commit to this shared project that we have and be able to fully show up to it. So if, let's say you hire a contractor and they have 6 other gigs and they're jobs and they're not going to be able to show up when you need it, that's not going to work. Same with a partner or anybody that's just too busy or doesn't have the same commitment, so they don't show up. That's not going to work. So I look for that commitment. That's my next C. And the last C, and these are in order of importance, is capacity. They're all very important, but capacity is something that can be trained, but I'm not a trainer, so I don't look for that. I want people that already know what they're doing, and not just that, but I've been taught work with the best. They won't cost you money, they'll make you money. So I look for the best, and I've made this mistake before, going, okay, I'm gonna look for the cheapest because this is, if I spend less, then I'll make more in the end, and so I just I'll look for the cheapest. But one very misfortunate time, we got a cheapest contractor who did a terrible job, ended up taking a really long time and messed up. We ended up having to fire that person and hire the more expensive good person we could have hired from the beginning. And so it ended up costing us more in the end, taking us way more time than it needed to. And that's because we went with somebody that didn't really have the capacity to do the job well. So you want to look for somebody who can do the job. And in terms of your team, a lot of, some people will they'll go, okay, they're looking for a specific type of investing property, and they'll get their cousin's, sister-in-law who just got their agent's license and doesn't really know what she's doing, but they'll work with her because they know her, but she's not going to be very helpful. So you really want to go with people who know what they're doing, and not just what they're doing, for the best at what they do, because they're just going to know things and they know people, and they're going to not just help you so much in your job, but they're going to also connect you to other amazing people, because A players play with other A players. So if you can work with the best, you'll get the best working for you in other ways. So
I have a question about this one. I feel like this is actually one of the things I really enjoy, is the teaching and the training part of things. Teaching family, like, we can't help it. It oozes out of us. And I love when people call me or reach out and ask me questions, and they're always like, oh, I'm so sorry, I feel like I'm wasting your time. I'm, no, I love this. Like, so sometimes I find that I'm not really working with the best of the capacity as far as the experience, but they have a capacity to be really great because they're hungry and intelligent and ambitious. And I just love working with those kind of people and training them. How do you feel about that, especially from the standpoint of a passive investor? Because they might not want to really deeply understand what they're investing in. They just want to understand it well enough that they know what you're talking about when they place their money.
Okay, well, what are they, in what capacity do you have them there, right? So a passive investor, they just need to have the capacity to vet the deal, and then put their money in, right? So there's not much relying on them beyond wiring funds, signing docs and wiring funds, right? Like your project's not going to fall apart if that, they take a day or two to wire funds and that doesn't work, right? You know what I mean? So that's not that important. Do you want so if it's a valued team member, it's a person whose job is important to the deal. That, like, we, especially like if we're new, right? We start from somewhere. But when I was starting, I partnered with people who had a lot more experience than me, because I didn't do that when I was just investing on my own account, right? I my own money and I did some stupid things. And I didn't know better. But when it was other people's money, I was like, I am not going to mess with other people's money, right? Of course, there's never any guarantees, but I want to do everything I can to take good care of their money and have it come back with friends. So I am not going to rely on people who don't know what they're doing, or that I will teach them, especially when I'm not necessarily the best at that, right? If I'm not the best, then how can I teach somebody else how to do it? That's also my issue with DIY. Like, you want to work with the best and have the best people do it, but if you're trying to do something and you often don't know what you're doing, you end up wasting a lot of time and doing the wrong things. And that's fine when it's your own money. But when it's other people's money, I'm not good with that.
Well, let me ask you this from the deal sponsor standpoint. When you were shifting from just doing your own things with your own money and you were looking to partner and go bigger, and you have to partner, and you were kind of new, and maybe you had a reduced capacity because you didn't have a lot of experience, talking to a newer deal sponsors, what advice can you give them? It's like, well, if you don't have a lot of experience and maybe your capacity is diminished right now, what do you have to offer? What did you have to offer in those situations that people would want to work with you if you weren't the best at that point?
Yeah. So
Great question.
That is a great question. And for me, it was, luck is preparation meets opportunity, but I definitely had a great opportunity. I did have a lot of luck at the beginning of my syndication career, because my next door neighbor at the time was vice president of a real estate investment trust. She had a real estate investment fund. She had done syndications, not on her own account, but in her business, and had done close at that point, almost $1 billion with a B, $1 billion worth of transactions. So she'd done tons of syndication. She could underwrite in her sleep and do due diligence. And she had a crazy amount of experience and knowledge. And she wanted to invest on her own account. So her company did big deals in California. It's super, super expensive, but 300, 400, 500, like, lot 8-figure, 9-figure deals, like 9-figure deals. And so she wanted to invest, but had no time. She was so busy at that job. They were working her like a manimal. And so we had just gotten into syndication, done some training, had hired mentors. And we just happened to have this conversation with her, and we're starting to look for deals. She's like, I'd love to partner with you. She's like, I don't really have the time to go out and about, but maybe you can. And then I'll help underwrite, and then we'll fundraise together. It's like, awesome. So my husband's a graphic designer, we had a really nice looking website, And of course her bio was first, and it's like crazy good experience. And we didn't have that experience, but I was a corporate litigator, so I had a few things that were impressive. And then my husband had been a urban planner, so it wasn't like directly on point, but with our team, quote unquote, team had $1 billion worth of very relevant experience. So when brokers looked at our website or our package, they were like, oh, okay, these are legitimate people, we'll get in the door. So, in our first foray out, we started, we bid on this, like, it was so, I was almost like, I was so naive and green. I thought this was cool and normal, but I was like $150 million portfolio of like units in the Los Angeles area. Like, that was going to be our first deal. And we got into best and final. And then we got outbid, thank God. But I was like, we had like no list. I was like, what was I thinking? Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, but we got taken seriously because we had her on, she was in part of the team. So our team was very impressive, mostly 99% due to her, but it worked. And then we got other opportunities, and we ended up getting 2 buildings in Albuquerque. In the end, she couldn't work with us because she was so busy, but we got in the door from her. And then we found another experienced partner, and we got the deal done. But that was that's how I started.
So they were working with you because you had a deal. Did you bring the capital to that first deal, or did they bring that in?
We did the fundraising together, but to be honest, our experienced partner ended up raising 80% of the capital. We brought in like 20%.
Okay, so your control of the deal at that point was really the value that you had in that partnership.
Yeah, so we had, because we'd gotten the deal, we had it under contract, we put together the team, the property management, the lender, we had all of this stuff like in place. Mm-hmm. And then we got an experienced partner who was like, yeah, I can help you raise, and we liked him, and so we did the deal together.
Sounds like how I did my first deal.
Yeah, and that's how you do it. You have capacity, but you don't want the blind leading the blind. So I think it is important that you work with people that know what they're doing. You can work, you don't have to, but I have found that the better, like the more skilled the people I work with, the more they know what they're doing. It's like they know, they see things that you don't even think to see. They know things you don't even think to know, and they can connect you to people, and like I said, A players work with other A players, and it's made, following that rule has made all the difference for me.
So when I was a D player and a Z player, I either had to control the deal, or I had to control the money and partner with the A players. Otherwise, they wouldn't play with me. And as my limited partners, my investors, they would ask me when I was trying to raise. They're like, well, who are you, and why would I want to do business with you? And I had to put my A players in front of them, like, well, because of this guy. But I didn't want to say, oh, not because of me, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like our team, and look, this guy's
our team. Exactly.
Was controlling money. I was saying, I have this deal under control, and look, I have a couple of these investors, so they were happy to play with me. But you got to control the deal, or you got to control the money. And limited partners, when you're going into a situation, there might be someone on the team who doesn't know what they're doing, but make sure somebody on the team does.
Yeah,
somebody has.
So yeah, to get people to work with you, you have to contribute something. So you can't, you got to show up with something for somebody to want to work with you. And it's either going to be the deal, or it's going to be money, or it's going to be experience. It's going to be something, but you have to contribute something.
Mm-hmm.
or you're gonna like hustle somewhere, or you're connecting one, the deal person with a money person. So you're showing up with relationship that can help, but you have to show up with something.
Okay. Good answer.
Yeah. So hopefully that was helpful. But I did luck out. I mean, what are the odds of having a next door neighbor with that kind of experience? So that was really great. Our business name is still, even though we're not partnered with them anymore, our business name is Vineyard Investment Partners. And people ask, "Oh, do you invest in vineyards?" And we're like, "No, we don't. Never bought a vineyard, though I wouldn't mind one." But it's because we live next door to each other on Vineyard Avenue. And so we were, and then it like the alliteration, VIP assets. So we were VIP, Vineyard Investment Partners. That's how it came to be.
Well,
okay.
You may call it luck, but I met those partners, the same kind of people. I didn't live next door to them, but I just met them at a RIA and at a conference. And so you kind of put yourself in the place. My next door neighbors could care less about what I do. They don't ask. They don't want to invest with me. They don't, they're living next door to me. They don't take advantage of it. So whether you meet them next door, you meet them at a RIA, it doesn't matter. Just go put yourself, where the people are. You'll find them.
Yeah. And she was willing to work with us because we had spent time to educate ourselves, and we just committed a lot of money to, have a mentor that had a lot of experience and would be helping us. And, so it's because we were showing up serious. We weren't just like, "Hey, we're next door, we'll help you." It was like we had skin in the game and we were invested. So, all right, those are the 3 C's. Let me talk. Okay. So it's important not only that when you look for the 3 C's, that you also have the 3 C's, right? So you are of character and you have commitment and you develop your capacity, so that people want to work with you too. And then here's some other, why does this keep doing that? And then here are other tips for people who want to raise private money. So the first is to be known, likable, and trustworthy, right? Because people work with who they know, like, and trust. So you need to become known and you need to be likable and trustworthy. And so with regards to the known, part of that is slide, but building a brand and a network. And it doesn't have to be a huge brand, but the bigger the brand, right, the bigger the network, the more people know you, the easier it'll be for you to do what you want to do. Especially when you're trying to raise money. I know Tate here has a podcast. I have a podcast. You're doing this. You're leading a meetup, and when you put together a platform and you're putting yourself out there to get yourself known, to create a name for yourself, people will be more likely to like and trust you, but at least they'll know that you exist. And then from there, then you have to then be likable and trustworthy. And doing that requires you to do what you say you'll do. Follow the 3 C's, and then be transparent when things go wrong. I find that this one is really, really important. And right now a lot of people raising money might be finding things going wrong because the economy is not going great. And so things are a little crazy.
32% up today, they announced. 32%. Do you see the numbers?
No,
32%. It's terrible. It looks terrible. Yeah. I don't even know what to do with that information, but we're going to be seeing some good deals coming down the pipeline pretty soon.
It is a very, very good time to be a real estate investor. And because you will be able to help people, actually. So, but when things are bad, and things go wrong, be transparent. Kenny McElroy, who wrote the ABCs of Real Estate Investing, he said once, share bad news. It makes, I think he said, like, it engenders trust, basically. Like, when you tell people that it's like, okay, here's what's going on that's not good, telling people the good thing. We all love sharing good news, but it's sharing bad news quickly and transparently that really will make people trust you. And not like, sky's falling, but okay, sky's falling. Here's what we're doing to like build a roof and get umbrellas and whatnot, right? Be solution oriented, but do be transparent that things are going wrong. And that makes a big difference. And then, as I was mentioning, focus on creating relationships for life and having that philosophy. So really long term, really, like farming, and versus hunting. So some people they'll kind of like have a hunting, go after like a hunter. You can think of like a lion, right? He goes after the gazelles, runs, like rips out the jugular, eats the gazelle, and then goes and then naps, right? And then has to like go and find next time he's hungry, goes out and kills another, like rips out the jugular, kills another gazelle, and then takes a nap. So some people when they do deals, that's how they show up, right? They go like, let me just like get this person the deal, but I'm kind of like, screw them, who cares? I'm just going to get as much as I can, and then I'll find somebody else next time. As opposed to a farmer who plants seeds and tends to the seeds and waters the seeds and allows the tree to grow, and then like will pick the fruit and then plant more seeds. So it might take longer, but you're like really tending to the people that you have, and that will lead to having an orchard and an abundant amount for everybody. But that's what I recommend that you focus on, is creating those relationships for life. All right. Another one that's really helpful is make sure you have clear and enforceable agreements and abide by them. Especially when you're raising money, and if you're syndicating, hopefully everybody who's even thinking about doing that knows to talk to a securities attorney and do things right. You can't just take anybody's money, and you just have to invest to do it right. So you have clear, enforceable agreements, and then you live by them. Your word is everything, and the new rules and the law, and you follow them. Also, it's just all it really goes down to being known, liked, and trusted, because you do the right things in the right way, and you show up open-heartedly and really trying to serve, having a servant heart. And I find that is people feel that, and they'll, a lot of the times they're not investing in a deal. They're investing in the people. They're investing it with you. And so you need to just take really good care of them so that they'll keep wanting to do that. And then they'll tell their friends, and there'll be more people. And then that's how you build a really sustainable business go long term. So that's how I've done it, and it's worked pretty well so far. So knock on wood, it keeps going. But I think that was it in terms of my presentation.
Awesome. No, I had somebody just today. Thank you. The importance of this has really been driven home to me the last couple of months. We've been raising money for a couple of deals, and the conversations that I'm having with potential limited partners or private lenders. I was talking to somebody today. She's a very experienced real estate investor, and she was asking me about the types of returns to expect. And she's a real estate professional, and she's like, I can get better returns on where you go because I get depreciation. And I said, well, who do you know that's not a real estate professional that these kinds of terms would make more sense because they can't get that cost segregation and all of that? And she said, you really have to have a relationship with them. She said, I can't just introduce you to somebody for this particular project. I can only introduce you to people for a next project.
Yep.
Like, yeah, this is a really good point. And while I'm thinking about raising money, I mean, there are lots of nuts and bolts. Like you said, know the rules and know the laws. But when you break it down, it's all about the know, like, and trust part. And we think a lot about that we're underwriting and we're getting market research and statistics and all of these nuts and bolts that we're doing. But I got an email today from a broker as a $25 million deal, and I was flipping through it and I start researching it, and I thought, this looks like actually maybe a decent deal. I'm going to dig into this one deeper. And my husband's like, $25 million. When did you get into that stratosphere? I was like, oh, care. It looks like a pretty good deal. It's not that much different than the ones we're already doing. And I said, just got to figure out how to pay for it. And I thought, wow, okay, we just arrived to the point where all we're doing is building relationships so we can figure out how to pay for this stuff, because the deals themselves are just not that hard. It's all about just paying for them. And I thought, oh, we just went right into the relationship business. Probably 90% of the time that we're going to be spending is all on relationships.
Real estate is a relationship business.
Mm-hmm.
100%. It's relationships that you have with investors, relationships you have with partners, relationship you have with your team members, it's relationship you have with your tenants. It's relationships. It's all relationships with people.
Yeah.
So and the numbers still need to make sense, right? It's not that you can ignore numbers, but it's a people business.
I feel like I spent so much time on the front end learning about the number side of things, learning how to crunch it, learning how to research it, learning how to put together the pitch deck and all of this nuts and bolts. And then it slowly became a much, much, much smaller part of what I do. It's still very, very important, but you got to pay for it. And that how to pay for it blew up into the largest part of how I spend my time. And that largest part of it is the relationship. So I have a question for you. I would love to actually get into the nuts and bolts of the relationship building, though, and what that actually looks like for you on a day-to-day. Like, what does your calendar look like? And we are raising money for 3 deals right now. I don't want to come across in a negative way. We're raising money for very specific deals, and we have deadlines. It's a little bit of a grind. It's a lot of like pounding the phones. And what does that look like for you when you have a specific deal and you have a close date, or you have a closing of your subscription date, or you got to get started on a project and you got to get that money in? What does that process look like for you when you're getting down to the brass tacks of it?
It's definitely easier when you already have the people.
Okay.
Right. So I have very much of a people first philosophy about things. And Dave was saying, he's like, he'll go with the deals first and figure it out. But I actually try to find deals that match my people versus people to fit my deals. Because it's easier that way, especially when you're starting out and you don't have a lot of investors. So when you don't have a lot of investors, you find out. For me, I found out what my investors were looking for, and then I found deals to match them. That was easier for me than vice versa. That's why I was saying it was really stupid when I started, because I was like, and after that's like very huge deal, and I did not like, and then I was gonna have to scramble to find people for that deal, and I didn't know what I didn't have people, and I didn't know what they would want. And they probably would not have wanted a not huge cash flowing property in Los Angeles. It's like a terribly unlandlord friendly place. So now, thankfully, because I have built my brand in such a way, investors come to me. So they will go to my website, they click on Investor Club, they fill out an application, and then they click to get on a call. And then we have a phone call where you find out more about like their situation and their desires and what they're looking for. And then at that point they're on our list. And so we have a pretty big list. So when we have things that we need to fund, we have a lot of investors to whom we can tap. So we're not really dialing for dollars anymore. We don't really have to do that, because we built a list big enough so that's not a problem anymore. Thank you, God. I remember when it really was. So Remember that. But yeah, thankfully now that's not really our issue. So very grateful for that. But yeah, so if you don't have a huge list, then you either will like partner with other people who do, or you call your investors and you start to find out what, then you do get on the phone and you find out like what are they looking for and if what you have is a fit. And with that, just knowing that I've heard this saying, it's like you go to the store and you see like gorgeous pair of shoes, so like a beautiful 75% off, like amazing price. But if it's 2 sizes too small, right, you're not buying those shoes, right? Like they're not a fit. And so the same with the deals, right? It needs to be a fit for the investor. And so I just sort of get really clear on what my investors are looking for, what they want long term, make sure that this deal fits them and their risk tolerance and their long term goals. And if it does, then yay. And if it doesn't, then that's okay. Well, next, those shoes don't fit.
Hey, Monique, do you have a kind of a general answer to that question? Like, do you have when you ask people what they're looking for in an investment, what's important to them, do you find that majority of them kind of come down in the same sort of place? Or is it just kind of the whole spectrum of preference?
Yeah. And do you sort them in your CRM by that and only send out deals that fit them? Or
I don't, because people think people's situations change.
Don't know what they want.
People they don't know what they want, but like it changes, and sometimes they may like in abstract something might like sound like a good deal or not sound like a good deal, and then when they actually see it or they hear about it, and they might be curious, and sometimes a lot of times it's a matter of timing, right? So sometimes they might have just sold something or they have a chunk of money and now it's a good time and they want it to or not, right? So in terms of your question, Tate, like what are people looking for? I find the majority of my investors are focused on cash flow, so that they want passive cash flow, and that makes sense because I'm always saying like my mission is to help 1 million women create financial freedom, and financial freedom is having enough passive cash flow that it equals or exceeds your working income. So like, people who are hearing that are like, yeah, I want the cash flow that will equal to or exceed. So they're generally like predisposed to want that. But not everybody. Some people, and then some people they're more thinking long term and they don't need the cash right now. They really want just like long term growth. Not that they're going to say no to cash flow, but it might be retirement funds that they're using. So they're not going to need that money for a long time. So they're kind of looking big picture and longer term. Some people are really about tax benefits. So they just they're all about tax benefits. And if a deal, so we had like a debt fund that we did, a really good interest, like it was like 18% cash. So it was like great cash flow, but no tax benefits. Some people are like, no, I really want tax benefits. I have enough income. And then, and some people are like legacy. Some people are like it mattered to them where, like just where it is or what it is. I can't remember. It's like there are certain states that have like one woman didn't want to invest in states that had like really repressive abortion laws. So she was like, I'm not going to invest in this state or that state or this state. And I was like, okay, got it. Right. Like I was like, or maybe it was like the gender bathroom law. I can't remember what it was, but it was like, we're like, we have a deal in Georgia. So like Georgia, I was like in Atlanta. No, not doing Georgia. It's like, cool. I got it. All right. I'll respect that. So that's, not for her. So like different people have different things, but the vast majority want cash flow, super psyched to have tax benefits. Some are like, it's a must. Others are like, it's just a nice thing to have. Other people, they're like, that doesn't really matter to me at all. It varies.
How long how long of a model, or what kind of expectation are you I know it probably changes from deal to deal, but what kind of expectation are you typically conditioning investors for in terms of the term of their investment?
It does vary from deal to deal, which we say, but most, like, the average of hold period is about 5 years. Though more recently, what was happening with the economy, we were turning around deals much more quickly. So where we had a 5-year plan, we were selling in 2 years or 3. Most of, like, a lot of 2-year turnarounds. I don't know, and I say, I'd let them know that we're gonna make the decision that makes the most sense at the time. So if it makes sense to sell early, then we'll sell early. And if I don't know, there's the global shutdown and a pandemic and the economy like goes into free fall, it doesn't make sense to sell, even though we had planned to sell this year, then we won't. Well, we might, instead of the year 5, we might sell in year 7 or 8 or 10. We'll make the decision that makes the most sense to, like, maximize returns and for our investors. So
are you doing most of this relationship building and communication? Is most of it via email?
Well, I have a Zoom call with people after they've filled out from our investor club, and then they get on a Zoom call with me. So
individually.
Mm-hmm.
Just the one Zoom call?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And then after that, how do you
then we
email,
and then when we have a deal, we'll do a webinar on it.
Mm-hmm. And you email out that invitation to the webinar?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I said, it's a relationship game, but I still am a little bit focused on the nitty-gritty of the technical aspects of it, because, like, funneling people through driving traffic to the website, getting them to fill out the survey, funneling them into the CRM, getting them to attend the webinar, nurturing that relationship, because you have 1,000 people, you're not having lunch with them all. Like, what does that look like? So I am
so many people want to take me to coffee, and I'm like,
no.
And I love that you're willing to answer questions for everybody. And I'm like, a lot of people, I would love to pick my brain, but
hopefully someday I will have to.
Not enough of me.
I hope I run out of time. I'll be like, I ain't got time for that. But right now,
it's like I wish I could. I was like, I put a lot of stuff out there. Yeah.
I have a question. Right now, your business is to a point where you have a name out there. But what do you recommend for people that don't? Because it sounds to me like, because of your integrity and what you have done correctly, people now already know you, they know who you are. But how about the people that are just starting out? How about not knowing, or you know what I mean? Like, what do those people do to build those strong relationships?
Yeah. So one is, you just build the relationship with the people in front of you. I mean, I would actually recommend that you think, especially if you're, depending on how big you want to get, right? If you're trying to build a big brand, you really think, like, how could I put myself out there in such a way that people will get to know me? It's a lot easier to attract people to you than it is to go after people. So if you're just like, what can I give in terms of content, right? That will attract people to me. And then when they come to you, it's a lot easier that way. So that I'm very grateful now. I'm at the point where deals come to us, people come to us, and we're not out there looking for that. And so we're more attracting it. So I would think, like, think long term and big. And it's like, how can you build that for yourself so people do get to know you? In the meantime, if you do have an opportunity and you have to fill it now, and time is of the essence, and you just start working with people. But think about who could you work with that has a community, right? That they have that, and leverage what they have. So you have to think, what can I offer them so that they'll want to work with me, and then they have the team. So whatever you're missing, just find people who have what you want, what you need, and you find what they need and you provide that. So maybe they have a team, you have a deal. Or they have people.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'd love to talk to you about this a little further. I have a few thoughts for you specifically. Just knowing you and knowing the value that you create for people. So we should definitely do lunch or do a Zoom call or something, because I have a few things. I think, to cut to the chase, I think you're the perfect podcast host. Like, I think building that thought leadership platform, whether it's a meetup group, podcast, book, YouTube channel, I think probably Monick, I would think those 2 books are like priceless for you in terms of your relationships you built.
They're helpful. I mean, people. So I always ask people how they found me. And a lot of times it's like, I was on Amazon and I found your book and I just did a search. And so they'll find me there, or being a guest on other people's podcasts or my own podcast. It's like putting myself out there, they'll find me. And then we also do Facebook ads, not for the deals, but we do Facebook ads for the education program. And people will find us there, Facebook, Instagram.
I found her. I was at Adam Adams' conference in October, and I met Chat Sarmiento in person. She met my husband, and he said, "Come over and meet my wife." And she and I started talking, and she put me in her Facebook group. And then she did like a short podcast or kind of a webinar with Monick, was the guest. And that was the first time I saw her. And so it just is kind of a chain comes through there. So just kind of getting yourself out there. And Elizabeth, you actually have a pretty good social media personal brand going for you already with the flipping business. I don't know what you're getting out of it. I just know that you have a pretty good online presence. You got some good photography, you got some good content. I don't know if you're doing that to find deals or to find money, or if you're just doing it for fun, but it wouldn't be that hard to tweak what you're already doing to scale way up. And like you said, you've got a lot of capital behind you that you've made in your flipping business that you really could grease your wheels to be able to do earnest money and to put a lot of money into your own deals and attract put a larger deal that you can't do by yourself and attract a lot of capital. You're like right there, and you're feisty, and you look good online. So you're poised.
Yeah, I'd imagine you do great YouTube, or if you already have a brand, then you just have to leverage it or you tweak it slightly, and just keep showing people what you're up to, what you're doing, and every once in a while invite them to learn more. It's like, hey, have you ever wanted to invest in a deal? Like, I'm having a webinar about that, or let's DM me and maybe let's hop on a call, and you can just like start building a list that way.
And a couple of us have already done this. So you go out, you get a deal that's maybe too big for you to chew, for you to chew on your own, and you call Tate, you call me, and we like partner up and we go take it down. And we're each, like what Monick was saying, we each have a piece that we can do. And like between the 3 of us, we could do a pretty large deal, more than any one of us could do on our own.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's a team sport.
For sure. Yeah. Leverage.
So Elizabeth,
leverage others.
Yeah, so I like your 9-unit vision for sure, because you can do a few of those, right, and create enough passive cash flow if they're mostly paid down, and et cetera, et cetera. But these 150 unit deals or whatever are pretty dang fun too, and there's no reason why you can't just crush it in that space.
Yeah.
You got to feed yourself. That's one thing I've noticed, because I've been going after these larger deals and these longer tail deals, and they don't feed you monthly. And so my husband's still working to keep the lights on, and that's frustrating for me, because my 8 rentals that I have that we own without any partners is what's keeping my business afloat. And so if you're not flipping, or if you don't have rentals, until some of these long tail deals go full cycle, you got to feed yourself. So you're thinking big, which is great. but you also have to think about how you're going to keep your lights on and eat.
Cash flow.
So have to have a little bit of cash flow just to survive, and then big chunks that you can go throw at other stuff. And that's what I was talking to you at the beginning, Monique, like when we get some big chunks back from some of these deals, that's when I want to go put it into something like that you're doing, so you can return me cash flow so my husband can quit his job.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are about at our time. This was actually great. I really loved the smaller group. I feel like we got a ton of questions and lots
fun.
of video details. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. This was great.
Thank you.
So-
So, and I
Thank you so much, Monique.
I look forward to our podcast, Tate.
Yeah, me too. It'll be awesome. We have a lot of fun on that.
Yeah.
So
He does a good job. He does a good job producing it. It's and asks really good insightful questions.
oh,
All right, I'm gonna pop this up on YouTube and on the Facebook group, and I'll tag you guys in it when it's ready. And like I said, I love being able to ask like really nitty-gritty technical questions on this stuff. So I appreciate you guys being in here and answering this stuff for me. What a day in the life looks like.
My pleasure.
thank you
All
so
right.
much, guys. It's good to see you all.
All right, have a good night.
Thanks for letting me
Thank
sit
you.
in on the sister meeting. That's
That's
a
right.
first.
You're our honorary goddess.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I would be an honorary goddess.
But
I'll be
hey,
an honorary goddess anytime.
before
Normally,
we go, I just want to say really quick that Monique has this really beautiful charisma, and I think that's what attracts a lot of people because she's very humble. You know, she's accomplished so much, yet you can tell she's so humble and she's so charismatic that you're just drawn to her personality. Even though we're not in person, I feel like I can trust her already. So I think that's also very important to mention, the trust that you just give out, you know, just put out this energy like I'm trustworthy. You can come and you don't have to say it. It just gets felt, you know, I just feel it. So thank you so much for today, and I hope you all guys go and make good deals.
You too. Elizabeth, I asked for your contact info in the chat, so I don't know if you can share it. Or here, I'll put my contact info in here, and
yeah, she's got a Facebook group that she can share. Like, what is it? What's the name of the group? Is it REI Goddesses on the Facebook group, or Real Estate Investor Goddesses?
There's a Real Estate Investor Goddesses. It's a private community.
Okay.
There's the public page, but if you go to reigoddesses.com, you'll find all the things. Or we're at REI Goddesses on all the social too.
That's one of my favorite groups. Like a group of girlfriends. Tate, you can join it. I don't know if you can try.
Yeah, sorry.
You're strong. We're gonna rule the world, Tate. Come be with us.
I love it. This is awesome. Like, how many times is this ever going to happen? Like a real estate investor meeting, and I'm the only guy. Like that's
I'm usually the only girl. This is totally fun.
Yeah, welcome to our world in real estate.
I love it.
That's how it usually is. This is the opposite.
That's how
I love it.
it normally is.
I love it. I love it.
Except for my events, which are like all women, but this is very unusual.
So great.
Yeah. All right.
Congratulations on all your success. Ooh, that's my
Thank you.
dog.
Likewise. Okay, bye everybody.
Bye,
All right,
everyone.
Bye.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.